The Kim estate stood like a fortress on the edge of Seoul, all marble columns and security cameras that tracked every shadow. Inside, the staff moved like ghosts, silent, obedient, terrified. Everyone knew the rules. Keep your head down, don't ask questions, and above all, never cross Yuna Park, the boss's fiancée. Yuna was beautiful in the way a blade is beautiful, sharp, cold, and dangerous. She'd clawed her way from the streets to stand beside Jin-woo Kim, the most feared man in Korea's underworld, and she wielded her position like a weapon. Maids had been fired for meeting her eyes. One butler disappeared entirely after spilling wine near her dress. Then Amara arrived. She came on a Tuesday with rain drumming against the windows, a tall black woman with box braids and eyes that didn't flinch. The head housekeeper, Mrs. Cho, warned her within the first hour. "Stay invisible around Miss Park. She doesn't like differences." Amara simply nodded, but something in her expression suggested she'd heard worse. For 3 weeks, she worked flawlessly, cleaning, serving, vanishing when needed. But Yuna noticed her anyway. Perhaps it was the way Amara moved through rooms with quiet confidence, or how she hummed while polishing silver, unafraid of the silence everyone else maintained. The confrontation came during a dinner party. Amara was serving champagne when Yuna's voice cut through the conversation like glass breaking. "You, the new girl, come here." Every head turned. The room held its breath. Amara approached calmly, setting down her tray. "Yes, Miss Park." "You think you're special, don't you?" Yuna's smile was poisonous. "Walking around like you belong here, like you're not just a person doing her job." Amara's voice was steady, respectful, but unyielding. "That's exactly what I am." Gasps rippled through the guests. No one spoke to Yuna that way. No one dared. Yuna stood, her chair scraping against marble. "Do you know who I am? What I could do to you?" "I know fear when I see it," Amara said quietly, meeting her eyes directly. "And I see it in you, Miss Park, under all that anger." The room went deadly silent. Even Jin-woo, seated at the head of the table, leaned forward with interest, his scarred hands folded beneath his chin. Yuna's face flushed with rage. "You have no idea what." "I grew up in Lagos during the insurgencies," Amara interrupted gently. "I've faced guns, poverty, and people who wanted to erase me for existing. I came here for a better life, and I won't let anyone, not even you, make me small again." For a long moment, no one moved. Then Jin-woo did something unprecedented. He laughed. "Yuna," he said, his voice carrying the weight of absolute authority, "sit down." Yuna's eyes widened, but she has more courage than half the men at this table. He turned to Amara. "What's your name?" "Amara Akifur, sir." "Amara, you're wasted as a maid." He gestured to an empty chair. "Join us. I want to hear more about Lagos." What happened next became legend in the Kim household. Yuna, humiliated, tried to maintain her reign of terror, but the spell was broken. The staff walked a little taller, and Amara, rather than being dismissed, found herself promoted to Jin-woo's personal assistant, a position that came with power, protection, and most importantly, respect. As for Yuna, she learned that true strength isn't found in making others fear you. Sometimes it's found in a woman bold enough to face the storm and refuse to bow. And sometimes, the person everyone fears is just waiting for someone brave enough to see through them. The morning after the dinner party, the Kim estate felt different. Word had spread overnight, whispered in the kitchen, murmured in the hallways, that someone had finally stood up to Yuna Park and survived. Amara reported to Jin-woo's office at 8 a.m. sharp, unsure what her new position actually entailed. The room was vast, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Seoul's skyline. Jin-woo sat behind a black lacquered desk, reviewing documents with the focus of a surgeon. "You're prompt," he said without looking up. "Good, I hate wasting time." "Then I'll be direct, sir. Why did you really promote me?" Now he looked up, a slight smile playing at his lips. "Because Yuna has controlled this household through fear for 2 years. My men respect her out of obligation to me, but they don't trust her. You showed them that fear is just noise." He leaned back. "Also, you speak 4 languages according to your file: Korean, English, Igbo, and French. Useful. My file. I know everything about everyone who enters this house, Miss Aakaffer, including the fact that you have a degree in international business from the University of Lagos, but couldn't find work because companies want connections, not competence, Amara finished, and I had neither money nor family name. Here, you'll have both. He slid a contract across the desk. Read it. You'll manage my international communications, coordinate with our legitimate business partners, and occasionally attend meetings as my representative. The salary is there on page 3. Amara's eyes widened at the number. It was 10 times what she'd made as a maid. There's a catch, isn't there? Yuna will make your life hell, Jin-woo said flatly. She's already planning it. Can you handle that? Amara thought of the years she'd spent surviving, adapting, enduring, refusing to break. I've handled worse for much less, Mr. Kim. Then we have a deal. He extended his hand. As Amara shook it, the office door burst open. Yuna stood in the doorway, dressed in white like an avenging angel. Her eyes were red-rimmed but blazing with fury. Jin-woo, we need to talk, alone. Anything you need to say can be said in front of my assistant, he replied coolly. Your assistant, Yuna's laugh was brittle. Are you serious? This maid? Was a maid, Jin-woo corrected. Now she's essential to my operations. You have a problem with my business decisions. Yuna's jaw clenched. She and Jin-woo had an understanding. She ruled the social sphere while he handled the empire. But this crossed into his territory, and they both knew it. She humiliated me in front of your associates, Yuna said, her voice dropping to something dangerous. You humiliated yourself, Amara interjected quietly. I simply refuse to participate. You don't get to speak. In my office, she does. Jin-woo's voice carried a warning edge that made even Yuna pause. Amara works for me now. That means she has my protection. Are we clear? The silence stretched like a tightrope. Finally, Yuna turned her gaze to Amara, and what burned there wasn't just anger. It was a promise. Crystal clear, she said sweetly. Then to Amara, enjoy your promotion, Miss Aakaffer. I'm sure you'll find this household very educational. She swept out, leaving the scent of her perfume and the weight of her threat behind. She's going to come after you, Jin-woo said matter-of-factly. Subtly at first, a misplaced document here, a ruined reputation there. Yuna's specialty is making problems disappear without getting her hands dirty. Then I'll have to be smarter than her problems, Amara replied, settling into the chair across from him. Now, about these international communications, where do we start? Jin-woo smiled, a real one this time. I think I'm going to enjoy working with you. Over the next month, the battle lines became clear. Yuna launched her campaign with precision. Important emails mysteriously went missing. Business contacts received strange calls claiming Amara had made offensive remarks. Rumors spread through Seoul's elite circles that Jin-woo's new assistant was unqualified, that she'd seduced her way into position. But Amara had learned long ago that survival required strategy, not just courage. She documented everything, backed up all communications, built relationships with Jin-woo's legitimate business partners through competence and professionalism. When a Japanese executive expressed surprise at finding her so articulate, she smiled and said, I find that competence transcends expectations, don't you? And proceeded to conduct the entire negotiation in flawless Japanese she'd learned during her years studying business. The executive was so impressed, he requested she handle all future dealings. Meanwhile, the household staff gravitated toward Amara. She remembered their names, asked about their families, treated them like humans rather than furniture. The cook, Mrs. Lee, started saving her the best portions at meals. The driver, Mr. Park, volunteered information about Yuna's movements. Even the security team began consulting her on scheduling. Slowly, the power structure was shifting. Yuna felt it like ice cracking beneath her feet. The respect she'd commanded through fear was evaporating, replaced by something she'd never bothered to earn, genuine loyalty. It came to a head on a Friday evening. Jin-woo was hosting a meeting with representatives from a Russian syndicate, dangerous men who valued strength and despised weakness. Yuna had planned to attend, to remind everyone of her position at Jin-woo's side. But when she entered the conference room, she found Amara already there, speaking fluent Russian, laughing at something one of the representatives had said. The men were relaxed, engaged, treating her not as decoration but as an equal. "Ah, Miss Park," the lead Russian said, barely glancing at her. "Your fiancé's assistant was just explaining the new shipping routes. Brilliant woman. Jin-woo, you've found yourself a rare gem." Jin-woo, seated at the head of the table, caught Yuna's eye. In that moment, she understood. She'd been outmaneuvered. Not through cruelty or fear, but through everything she'd never believed mattered: competence, respect, and the simple act of treating people with dignity. As the meeting continued, Yuna slipped out, her white dress seeming suddenly less like armor and more like a surrender flag. The bold black maid had faced the boss's fiancé and won. But the real question was, what would Yuna do now that she'd lost? Yuna didn't appear at breakfast the next morning, or lunch. By dinner, the staff whispered nervously. When Yuna went quiet, something was brewing. Amara found her in the garden at twilight, sitting on a stone bench beneath the cherry trees. Without her armor of designer clothes and perfect makeup, Yuna looked smaller somehow. Younger, almost vulnerable. "Come to gloat?" Yuna asked without turning around. "No," Amara sat down, leaving space between them. "I came because you looked alone." "I am alone." Yuna's laugh was hollow. "I've been alone since I clawed my way out of Daegu with nothing but my face and my survival instincts. You think you know me? You don't know anything." "Then tell me." Yuna finally looked at her, eyes searching for mockery and finding only genuine curiosity. Something in her seemed to crack. "I was nobody," she began quietly. "The daughter of a drunk father and a mother who disappeared when I was 12. I learned early that beauty was currency and fear was protection. By 16, I was working in clubs, catching the attention of dangerous men. Jin-woo was different, powerful enough that standing beside him meant safety, so I became what he needed. The perfect, untouchable fiancé." "But that's not who you are," Amara said softly. "It's who I survived as." Yuna's voice cracked. "And then you walked in, refusing to play by those rules, and suddenly none of it worked anymore. You weren't afraid. You didn't need to make others small to feel big. You just existed, and that was enough." Silence settled between them like falling snow. "I hated you," Yuna admitted, "because you reminded me of who I used to be before I learned to be cruel, before I decided that being feared was safer than being loved." Amara reached over and gently took Yuna's hand. "It's not too late to choose differently." For a moment, Yuna looked like she might believe it. Then her phone buzzed. She glanced at the screen and her expression hardened. "Yes, it is." She stood abruptly, pulling away. "Jin-woo's brothers are coming tomorrow. They've never approved of me, a street girl playing at royalty. They'll see you as his new favorite and me as yesterday's trash. I can't afford weakness right now." "Yuna." "Stay away from me, Amara, for both our sakes." She walked away, her silhouette disappearing into the mansion's golden light. They arrived like a storm front, 3 men in black cars, each one a darker reflection of Jin-woo's power. Di-young, the eldest, had cold eyes and a reputation for brutality. Min-ho, the middle brother, was the strategist, always 3 moves ahead. And Taeyong, the youngest, was unpredictable, with a smile that promised violence. Amara was briefing Jin-woo on quarterly reports when they swept into his office unannounced. "Little brother," Di-young said, his gaze sliding over Amara like she was furniture. "We need to discuss the Singapore operation, privately." "Amara handles all my international affairs now," Jin-woo replied calmly. "She stays." Min-ho's eyebrow arched. "You're African Maid. Jin-woo, have you lost your mind?" "My assistant," Jin-woo corrected, his voice dropping to something dangerous. "And unless you want to challenge my authority in my own home, you'll show her the same respect you show me." The temperature in the room plummeted. The brothers exchanged glances, surprised, calculating. Taeyong laughed suddenly. Well, the little maid who tamed Yuna Park. I heard about that dinner party. Legendary. He turned to Amara, genuinely curious. What's your secret? How do you survive in a world of wolves? I don't try to become a wolf, Amara replied evenly. I remember that wolves are just dogs who forgot they could be domesticated. Taeyong's grin widened. I like her, she can stay. But Taeyong wasn't amused. Jin-woo, we came because there are concerns about your judgment, about Yuna, who the families already distrust, and now this. Replacement. You're showing favoritism to outsiders while weakening your position within the organization. My position is solid, Jin-woo said coldly. Is it? Minho pulled out his phone, displaying a photo. Yuna was seen meeting with Park Sung-min yesterday, your biggest rival. They spoke for 2 hours. The room went silent. Jin-woo's expression didn't change, but Amara saw his fingers tighten slightly on his desk. Explain. We don't know what was discussed, Minho continued. But it doesn't look good. Either she's making moves against you, or she's so desperate for relevance she's becoming a liability. I'll handle Yuna, Jin-woo said. Will you? Taeyong leaned forward. Or are you too distracted by your new pet project to see the knife at your back? Amara felt all eyes turn to her. This was the test, the real reason they'd come. Not to discuss Singapore, but to see if Jin-woo would sacrifice her to maintain family unity. Amara is not a distraction, Jin-woo said, his voice absolute. She's an asset. In 1 month, she's improved our international relations, streamlined communications, and earned respect from contacts who wouldn't give Yuna the time of day. You want to question my judgment? Fine, but you'll do it with evidence, not prejudice. Taeyong's jaw clenched. This isn't over. It is for today. Jin-woo stood, a clear dismissal. Amara and I have work to do. Show yourselves out. The brothers left, but their presence lingered like smoke. Thank you, Amara said quietly once they were alone, for defending me. I didn't defend you, I stated facts. Jin-woo moved to the window, his back to her. But Amara, you need to understand something. In this world, loyalty is currency and trust is a weapon. My brothers won't let this go. And Yuna meeting with Sung-min. You think she's betraying you? I think she's desperate. He turned, and for the first time, Amara saw something like worry in his eyes. And desperate people make catastrophic mistakes. The call came at midnight. Amara's phone buzzed with an unknown number. Against her better judgment, she answered. Miss Akaffer? A woman's voice, frightened and unfamiliar. Please, you have to come, Miss Park is in trouble. She's at the old warehouse in Gangnam, the one Mr. Kim used to own. She's asking for you, she says. She says she's made a terrible mistake and you're the only one who might understand. Why would she call you and not Jin-woo? She's afraid of him. Please, she doesn't have much time. They're coming for her. The line went dead. Amara sat in the darkness of her room, heart pounding. Every instinct screamed trap. But she remembered Yuna's face in the garden, the glimpse of the frightened girl beneath the armor. She made her decision. 30 minutes later, Amara stood outside the abandoned warehouse, her phone clutched in her hand with Jin-woo's number ready. The building loomed against the night sky, windows broken like missing teeth. Yuna, she called out, stepping inside. The door slammed shut behind her. Lights flooded the space, blinding. When her vision cleared, Amara found herself surrounded by men, not Jin-woo's, but strangers with hard faces and harder eyes. And in the center, Park Sung-min himself, Jin-woo's rival, smiling like a shark. Miss Akaffer, thank you for being so predictable. Amara's blood ran cold. Where's Yuna? Yuna, he laughed. Oh, she has no idea you're here. That call was from one of my people. We needed bait to draw out Jin-woo Kim, and what better than his prized new assistant in danger? He'd been right to worry. But before Amara could respond, her phone lit up, but she'd been too smart for that. Before leaving, she'd sent Jin-woo a message with her location and suspicions. Looking for rescue, Sung-min sneered. Your boss won't come. He's too smart to walk into a trap for a maid he's known for 1 month. You're wrong about 2 things, Amara said, her voice steady despite her fear. First, I'm not a maid, and second, you don't understand Jin-woo Kim at all. The warehouse doors exploded inward. Jin-woo entered like vengeance itself, flanked by his brothers and 24 armed men. His eyes found Amara first, checking for injury, then locked onto Sungmin. You made a critical error, Jin-woo said softly, and somehow that was more terrifying than shouting. You touched what's mine. The next few minutes were chaos, violence erupting like a sudden storm. But through it all, Amara noticed something. De-young had positioned himself between her and the gunfire. Min-ho was efficiently neutralizing threats. Even Tae-yong, unpredictable as ever, was protecting her flank. The Kim brothers had come for her. When the smoke cleared, Sungmin was on his knees, defeated. Jin-woo stood over him, but his attention was on Amara. Are you hurt? No, I'm sorry I walked into. You walked into it because you have a conscience, Jin-woo interrupted. That's not weakness, it's why I trust you. He turned back to Sungmin. As for you, you just declared war on the Kim family. I hope it was worth it. As they left the warehouse, De-young fell into step beside Amara. Maybe we were wrong about you, he said gruffly. Anyone Jin-woo risks this much for, maybe they're worth protecting. It wasn't quite acceptance, but it was a start. Back at the estate, Amara found Yuna waiting in her room, mascara streaked, holding a packed suitcase. I'm leaving, Yuna said without preamble. Jin-woo doesn't know yet, but after tonight. I can't do this anymore. I'm not strong like you. I'm just tired of pretending. Where will you go? Somewhere I can figure out who I am without fear. Yuna smiled sadly. You saved me, you know, not tonight, but that first day. You showed me there was another way to survive. She left a note on Jin-woo's desk and disappeared into the night, finally free.